another edition of Ask Michael Ehline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I am attorney Michael Ehline. I got the shades on. I just came on a little bit early. I wanted to share a video with you before John Filax shows up. One of my members of Team MPE reached out asking me about some investment tips. And look, I'm not a professional investor. Any advice that I give you about investing is totally up to you whether or not you want to follow it. So don't come after me later if it doesn't work out for you. But I got a question from someone before John shows up. I wanted to play a video with you to show you kind of what I do when I day trade. So I deal primarily with MSTX, MSTY, and MSTU. MSTY is what I use to get my dividends. MSTX is what I do when Bitcoin is up really high. I'll buy a bunch of MSTX, because one thing you can count on with Bitcoin is volatility. And we can get into that another time. But I'm going to play this video for you. And then, of course, MSTU is really important. For example, I bought some MSTU at $4 a share. And then one day, I think it went up. I bought like 1,000 shares, like $4,000 worth or something. And then it went up to like $7. So I sold it right away as soon as it hit 7. So you figure out what my profit was. And that was just in one day trade. Now, the question I had is, what if I invest $100? Well, hey, look, Rome wasn't built in a day. If that's all you got is $100, I would recommend setting up an E-Trader account and trying it out. I mean, what the hell? I think that, look, I used to think that Bitcoin and all this stuff was a scam, but now the only thing that I believe in is silver, gold, and Bitcoin. And so I'll play this video for you until John shows up, and then we'll get into Lane Myers and Mr. Gold. All right, guys? And by the way, good seeing you guys. Pro Say American, Jody Shiloh, Brandy Swaney, good looking out. Good seeing you. Dawn, constitutional freedom fighter. All you guys are awesome. So let's just check out this dude's video, and we'll go from there.
And should not be construed as financial advice. The opinions expressed are solely those of the creator and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any organizations or entities mentioned. Investing in stocks, cryptocurrencies, and other financial instruments involves risk, and you should be aware of these risks before making any investment decisions. Always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor or professional before making any investment decisions. The content of this video is based on information available at the time of recording and may not be current. We make no representations or warranties of any kind, express or implied, about the completeness, accuracy, reliability, suitability, or availability with respect to the content. Any reliance you place on such information is therefore strictly at your own risk.
Hello, welcome to Retire Now Dividends. It's been a while since I've been here. Thank you so much for staying subscribed and waiting for new episodes. Today's episode is going to be super exciting, and it's going to be quite valuable to those who are action takers and who have, substantial trading experience. Today, we are going to talk about how I've been trading MSTU, MSTX, MSTZ in correspondence with MSTR, of course. Yeah. I'm going to be sharing some of how I trade, how I think about it, and how I go forward with it.
And that's because they're all tied to MSTR, which is Michael Saylor's micro strategy. So what this dude does is he just buys tons of Bitcoin and ties it to micro strategy, change the name of the company to Strategy. And so you use all of these different stocks in tandem to make money. And I'm having a good time doing it.
Without further ado, I got my E-Trade portfolio up here. Today is October 21st. Last time I brought up my portfolio, for those who are hardcore subscribers, right? They know that I was about net over the year. I didn't make much money, but now I've been I've been able to perform pretty well. And I'll just go to gains and losses just for clear transparency. I've been able to upswing my account upwards of 50K this year. And I'm going to share with you guys how I trade like a big portion of these profits come from trading MSTU and MSTC. So I'm going to share with you guys some of, I'm going to filter by those tickers and then share with you how I've been trading them. So I'm going to start with MSTU. Okay. So I've had quite a bit of good trades with MSTU. I've been able to net around 15K in MSTU. And then you'll know here on this video that all of my trades are profitable. You will see no single loss, which is awesome. So I've been very, very successful with MSTU. Now I'm going to share MSTX real quick. Also with MSTX, I've been able to make 16K in it. So over these 2 leverage funds, I've been able to make 30K trading.
Not bad, dude. Not bad.
And I've been 100% profitable on these trades. Now here's the funnest one. I've actually been able to successfully execute a short. Today was my first short.
Nice.
I was able to get a short in for like $400, but this was a much more stressful trade, and I don't really want to discuss it right now. But just to share with you guys my performance on MSTU and on MSTX, which is going to be like the focus of this video. So how do I trade MSTX and MSTU? First of all, I do trade with size. Okay. So I am making quite large trades. So I'm going to start with the trade made on, this is a good example of a trade that I made. The trade made on September 26th to September 27th. I'm going to pull up the trading view chart so we can all look at it together here. And this was for MSTU. So I bought into MSTU at 36 on 9/26. So let's go back in time to 9/26. I'm going to pull it up by the 4-hour chart here. So 9/26, if we zoom back here a little bit. Yeah, we got the hourly chart, and this was the session that I bought.
$36. Damn, it's down to like freaking $5
now. If you could see, I bought in at 36.
Yeah.
So when did it trade at 36 on this chart? It traded right here at 36. So I bought in sometime right here. And what did I do? I bought in and I sold the next day at 40, around 40. So I bought in and sold the next day. I think it was like pre-market. I sold it like around here. So that was a good trade. But you see, I missed out on all this. See, I tend to sell pre-market. You'll see this is quite a theme of mine, is that I do sell pre-market a lot. But I want you guys to know this move. Okay, this move was a 14% move. Now let's follow what was MicroStrategy doing on that time, on that date, 9/26. And just to give you guys how I think about these things. On 9/26, MicroStrategy was over here. And it looked like it was going up. We can also see how Bitcoin was trading on that day. When I do these trades, I look at Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, me too.
It's actually quite an important factor to look at. Not as much recently, but it is actually quite important. I use it daily. So at 9/26, I saw Bitcoin was in a clear uptrend.
Yeah, look at the RSI score and
I bought in
unbalanced
that
volume.
morning of 9/26, so sometime around here, sometime in this area, and I wanted to go long Bitcoin, but I wanted to go long Bitcoin with leverage, and was able to do that through using MSTU. Yeah. Because why? Because MSTR is a proxy for Bitcoin.
That's right.
I was buying into this MSTR move, and I sold that next day. But I got the leverage move. So instead of just getting like...
So MSTU is called T-Rex, and I think it's a 2 times leveraged, cheaper than MSTR. MSTR, man, I'm going to be, spending what, $300 to $500 a share. There's no dividend on it. So why not just leverage it with MSTU, right? So somebody like Brandy could put in $100. Right now it's selling at $5 a share. And once it pops again, it goes up to 150, 200 a share. Once MSTR goes to 150, 200 a share, MSTU is going to go back up to 40 a share. You guys following me? So somebody like Brandy on her first couple of trades could make a few $1,000. And then what I would recommend doing is dumping it in to MSTY, which is a dividend paying form of investment. So I've got like, I think 514,000 shares now of MSTY, and it's paying a dividend of $1.38 a share right now every month. So figure it out.
7%. I was able to book 14% on that day trade, the overnight trade, and I was able to profit here. And you'll see this is a theme of mine. I tend to enter and exit within a day or two if I can, and I prefer to. And that's like a main goal of mine, is to enter and exit quickly. I mean, a lot of these trades,
What's up,
I didn't let
Life
it run. I should have let it run. I could have probably been up way more. And you'll see the same things.
So when he says let it run, he should have let it keep going, but he's scared because Bitcoin is so volatile that it could go all the way down and then he could lose his gain for the day. So what I recommend doing is a limit loss where you put in like a 3%. Once it gets up higher than what you paid for it, do like a 3% limit loss. And then you've got like this three. So if it goes down a little bit, you're kind of safe. And if it goes down below 3%, just take the loss. You're still going to make a gain. But if it takes off, it could go to the moon. If Bitcoin takes off like it did when Trump was elected president, man, if I would have known then what I know now, I would already be retired, guys. But unfortunately, all my investments are in an IRA, so I can't use any of this money. I'm just trying to leave something behind for my kids. So don't think that I'm rich or something. I can't touch the money. It's in a SEP. So it's just, I'm trying to leave something behind for the children, but keep watching.
Similar things that I go for. So like I look for, when I'm trading MSTX or MSTU, I look for, do I think my entry will be up the next day? Because I tend to trade these only by the day. Sometimes if I catch a bad trade, I'll hold on to it, but I tend to trade these by the day. But if you feel like you're in a trend, like you're gonna have multiple back-to-back green days on MSTR, then it's better to ride them back-to-back days. But I'm just gonna go over more of these like bigger trades that I've made. So like here on you could see on I actually would be flipping between MSTX and MSTU. So like this was the one I did even earlier.
So again, when Bitcoin pumps, you want to buy MSTX, and when Bitcoin goes down, MSTX goes up. So it's the reverse of MSTU. So what I like to do is I like to 3% them on a limit. So as soon as I see Bitcoin going down, like, I want to immediately like get ready to sell my MSTX. When Bitcoin goes up, I want to drop a couple of grand into MSTX, buy it at a couple bucks a share. And then as Bitcoin goes down, then that's when I want to start doing my limit loss on it. And then I could make a 20 grand in one trade if Bitcoin's really going down, if the market crashes. So you want to work them both in tandem. And we can talk about this again in another show. This is just to kill time until John comes in. And then I'll stop the video and we'll get into Mr. Gold and Lane Myers. All right.
On MSTX here. Actually, let's look at this one because this one's more recent. Actually, I've only traded this one for about 3-4 days in and out. You can see here MSTX, and I was able to pull 16K. Of course, that's because of my size, because I'm trading with about, like this trade was with 70K. This was a 70K trade.
Nice.
Actually, probably like 80.
Damn.
90. This was like a 90K trade.
I try to do trades with no more than 10 grand.
Like 3,000-4,000 off of it. But you can see these dates. Buy on the 16th, sell on the 17th. Buy on the 18th, sell on the 19th. Buy on the 18th, sell on the 19th. So like I try to catch these day-to-day moves because the funds reset daily. So like if you catch the move up, it's a really big move up. Really, and that's why I like to sell immediately in pre-market when I do catch them, because these down days are quite heavy. They can be quite heavy. And most recently, like if you can see MSTU, for instance, today was I messed up a little bit. I did buy in today, but I sold it. I bought in. I bought in and sold it like just for a little profit when I should have held it and
Yeah.
let it ride.
Well, we always
And
worry
instead I
about
went
that.
long
All
Bitcoin
right.
because
Hold on,
it's
guys.
like the
Hold on.
same play but like a little bit less leverage.
What's up, John?
But
What up, my guy?
All right. So I was just doing a little bit of day trading for these guys. Let me see if I can get us better up here. All right. That's sick, dude. Hey, everybody. I want to invite John on. John, tell my audience a little bit about yourself. They probably already know who you are, but tell us who you are, man.
I am John Filax. I am a high school dropout. I own 3 restaurants, undiscovered comedian, constitutional activist, board member of tac-us.org. I became an activist in the 90s before clicks and views were ever a thing. I researched 60 hours a week between politics and police stuff and third rail topics, let's put it that way, things I could never talk about on YouTube. My whole activism started when I was in college, and instead of doing my schoolwork, I ran across a book called The Federal Mafia by Irwin Schiff that explained how there is no law that Americans living and working within the United States are required to pay a tax on their labor, aka the federal income tax. And from there, I started watching TV news, and I'm like, how is it possible that nobody's ever covering this? This is like the biggest story in the world. And then you go from that to, why didn't they cover this? Why aren't they covering that? Why are they slamming people who are constitutionalists? Why do they go after anyone that stands up for their rights? And that foreign and Ben Shapiro's favorite country, etc.
Interesting that you would mention Irwin Schiff. I actually met Irwin Schiff back in the 90s.
You're so lucky.
Yeah, that's really amazing. We seem to have a lot of the same interests. That's pretty amazing to me.
I was shocked when I spoke to you earlier. I couldn't believe it. Like I said, you brought up a term I haven't heard in 34 years. I've never heard another person speak it. And the things we were talking about, we can't talk about here, but just another person that's actually done the research I've done. The thing is, Michael, is when you know all this stuff in your head and you can't just download it into somebody else's head. So if you just say it to them, you might as well be mooing because they don't understand it. It all sounds like Greek to them. And I speak Greek. So
that's pretty impressive.
The thing is, you do all the research. I spent 30 years researching all this stuff, everything I can get my hands on. I'm an information junkie. And then you say something to somebody and they'll just be like, you're crazy. If
Absolutely.
that was true, if that was true, it'd be all over TV. That was the 90s. And then it turned into, if that was true, it'd be, let me guess, you found that on the internet. Now the internet is the only real source. You have to filter it, obviously, with some critical thinking ability. But the internet, open source information is the only way to really find the truth nowadays. And they want to put restrictions on the internet too. And a lot of the big companies, like the one we're on now, and Facebook and Google, and actually do censor these type of topics.
You're right, brother. You can't even talk about the the jabs or anything. They'll immediately try to ban you, accuse you of disinformation, even though there's a whole body politic of scientists who've constantly railed against it. And they were silenced by Google, by Twitter, by Facebook, who received billions of dollars in advertising money from these big pharma companies. So pretty amazing. It's disinformation as long as we're getting money from the people that are, supporting our channels.
You're right.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. So guys, everybody give me a bunch of ones for John agreeing to come on. It's a real honor to have you here, sir.
It's my pleasure.
And just really quickly, it's interesting. You mentioned, people look at you basically like you have a tinfoil hat if you mention stuff. So
I've heard that a million times.
Yeah. And so in one of my situations, I don't really know Lane Myers. I don't really know Mr. Gold. I don't really know these people. I vaguely know Reluctant Prophet, who this is how I learned about Mr. Gold and about Lane Myers. And, when I first saw these videos, I was like, wait, are you kidding me? Helicopters are following this guy around. It just sounds like crazy. It sounds cuckoo. So I started doing more research, and I told a couple of my other lawyer buddies about, look, I know about. So one of my friends who is a very well-known civil rights attorney said, absolutely, they do that. They absolutely target you. And so I wanted to know how you feel about that. Tell me what your experience is with that.
Again, when you talk about helicopters and stuff, the media and everybody else is trained to say you're a conspiracy theorist. There's no black helicopters. They didn't do that. They wouldn't waste that much money. But they will unalive you for a license plate. They will unalive you for window tint. They will unalive you if you resist any petty, unconstitutional, victimless crime. So I don't put anything past them at all, ever.
Well, John, I just want to share something with you really quick. This is the research that I came up with about what they're doing with aircraft as well as helicopters and regular planes. And in the United States, the police have used aircraft to triangulate cell phones and conduct surveillance on suspects, including across state lines. And this practice involves equipping the planes with advanced surveillance devices such as cell site simulators, commonly known as stingrays or dirty boxes.
I was just going to say stingrays. Can I say something real quick about stingrays?
Absolutely. Do it, man.
My friend James McClinnis, who ran for Pinellas County Sheriff, he was going after Bob Galtieri's job, the current sheriff Pinellas County, and they used the stingray device to locate him and lock him up. And he's the only person in Florida history, only guy in Florida history to win custody of his daughter from jail. And Bob Galtieri has been going after him ever since. Sorry, go ahead.
So you actually have an experience with someone who was tracked with one of these stingray devices?
Yeah, board member of TAC, James McClinnis, a genius man. He's a lot like you and I, more like you, because I'm not that much of a genius. But
no, you're way smarter than me, man.
No. So he was trying to become Pinellas County sheriff, and he was going to make that a constitutional county. And I tried to help him. We took like what do you call it? You know, like cutting board material. It's like a hard plastic.
Yeah.
So he made a stencil. And it said McClinnis for sheriff, and we went all through the sidewalks wherever there was soot, and so we just took the soot away, and it formed that logo.
Oh, that's cool.
So they gave him like 400 citations for that, saying it's an illegal sign. It's not a sign. Right. He can't contact the sheriff's department. He's exposed them so bad. If you guys ever want to know who he is, go to James McClinnis for Pinellas County Sheriff on Facebook. He's got a YouTube channel too. Yeah.
Well, I just want to share this with my audience so they can see I'm not a tinfoil hatter. I have this on good authority. I've done the research. So these stingrays, or dirt boxes that they call them, mimic legitimate cell towers, and they can collect data from your phones. So they literally can fly over you and start collecting data from your cell phone. And they capture identifying information, location data, communications, and content wide from a wide area, affecting both targeted suspects as well as bystanders. Law enforcement agencies, including local police and federal entities like the DEA and U.S. Marshal Service, have employed this technology. For example, the Anaheim Police Department in California have used these dirt boxes on aircraft since at least 2009, and they cover areas around Disneyland that are potentially sharing the equipment with other Orange County agencies. Okay, so and the U.S. Marshals are doing the same thing, using aircraft on these dirt boxes. They fly over your house and they collect your information. They can get your cloud data, pictures of if you took pictures of you and your old lady getting it on, they're getting all that stuff. The Baltimore Police Department have done the same thing.
They always get a warrant, though, right?
Well, they should. You tell me. Do you think they're getting warrants?
Of course not.
Of course. Do you think that the NSA gets warrants? We know that the heads of the NSA have consistently lied and perjured themselves in front of Congress about the illegal spying. So why do you think local law enforcement would be any different?
Well, who's going to stop them? That's the thing. They investigate themselves. There's no higher authority. Any type of citizen review board they come up with has no teeth to it. And the ones that do have any teeth are filled with cops and politicians and people who are statists, not citizens who just care about what's right and wrong.
Well, look, even if you use the word statist, automatically you're branded as like some right-wing lunatic by the communist news media. So what do you expect?
Exactly.
So federal agencies do typically require warrants for criminal cases under Justice Department policies, but exceptions do exist for national security and emergencies. And we know that under Obama and Sleepy Joe, military veterans are automatically on that list. And we know that also under Biden, there was a program where FinCEN was collecting our bank data. And if you purchased anything from Dick's Sporting Goods, you purchased a Bible, you went to Cabela's, you're automatically labeled a potential domestic violent extremist. And so arguably they wouldn't need a warrant for that. So these radical lefties basically were targeting anyone who was a Christian, who was protesting these radical transgender programs that the National Education Association was pushing on your little preschooler, right? Mm-hmm. If you went against that, you would go on that list. So no warrant required, right, guys?
What is FinCEN?
FinCEN, it's the financial something or the other. It's a public-private organization that the FBI uses so they don't, to obviate the warrant requirement. So they don't have to. So they're basically, they'll get your bank data from these guys, and then they'll take that bank data. Oh, they bought a Bible. Clearly a radical right-wing extremist. We need to target these people. Oh, a parent complained that this radical leftist public school teacher said that their son is really a girl, and so they're making it more difficult for their preschool son to come out of the closet. So we need to send Child Protective Services over there and take their kid away and place that kid with a nice gay family, right? That's literally what they do in California. Okay,
right. I did see a case where there was a judge made a court order that the father of his own child had to call him by the name that the child wanted because he's been brainwashed by his mom that he's a different gender, and he made a court order saying you have to call your own kid by the name that he wants to be called.
Well, that his mother wants him to be called, and so the mother fled to California.
Oh, you know this case?
Of course, and I have several other cases like it. I'm a California attorney, and I represent parents in cases like this. So I'm not just talking out of my rear end. So what happened in that case is his son was taken away from him, and I believe the mother did end up having his unit chopped off. And so this man, she flees Texas and goes to a leftist communist state where she's going to get the support that she wants and get the hormones injected into her son. Just pure lunacy, child mutilation, right?
You can't get a tattoo until you're 18, right? You can't smoke cigarettes until you're 21. You can't serve in the military, but you can change your gender when you're again, this is hot topic. So
clearly you're bigoted if you don't go along with what the public school teachers want to do, right? What the National Education Association wants to do. Yeah. That's why everybody wants to homeschool their kids now, bud. Why would you send your kids to a public school?
I say that all the time. Why in the world would anyone send their kids to public school at this point?
Right. So there's a California law that mandates warrants. It's called the Cal ECPA, but I don't buy it. Evidence of cross-state operations is less explicit but plausible given the mobility of aircraft and federal involvement. So in Mr. Gold's case, if he potentially did something like what I read or what I saw on one of the YouTube videos was that he was being accused of buying a cell phone in Georgia and then I guess using that to contact someone in Arizona. So that would obviously implicate the federal authorities, right? So that would give them the ability to track this guy across state lines using aircraft. So it all makes sense. Now,
why can't he buy a phone in Georgia?
What's that?
Why can't he buy a phone in Georgia in cocktail?
Well, I guess the allegation is that, and I don't know everything because I've just seen only from videos, that he bought phones, and it's just an allegation, bought phones so he could call someone and send them some Uber Eats. And I guess that rose to the level of like a violent offense or something. And again, put it in the comments if you guys know, because I don't know 100% about what's going on.
Just real quick, I did a long live stream with Reluctant Prophet about Mr. Gold from start to finish, the whole story. So if anyone wants to
dude, that's awesome. I do want to watch that. In fact, if you want to drop the link, do it, man.
Let's see if I can figure that out.
Yeah, privacy advocates, including the ACLU, which I don't think the ACLU is.
Oh, they're horrible.
I think that they're just basically another branch of the Democrat Party now.
Yeah,
so they're all about the misgendering. They're all about, throwing Christians in jail and, stealing children away from their parents if they don't go along with the LGBTQ, whatever new letter it is agenda.
So let me say something about the ACLU. They just had Dr. Justin Spies, who was the dreaded rabble rouser on YouTube. They had him arrested because he showed up to one of their events. He had a RSVP. They wouldn't let him in, and he had two signs that said something about the smortion and something else. I forgot. And they called the cops, had him arrested for that.
That's insane, and it's just happening more and more. And it's basically what's going on is the left. And look, I'm a recovering Democrat.
I'm sorry.
I'm a Democrat from the day that they used to have American flags at their rallies, that they used to pledge allegiance to the flag, that they used to love their country. They believed in traditional families, traditional marriages, not the New Democrat Party. The New Democrat Party is basically a globalist party. I believe it's the spitting image of what's going on in the United Kingdom or Germany, where they have the crime of insult, where anything that you say that if it offends someone, you can literally be thrown in prison.
I just read a story about that today. They will literally lock you up for Facebook posts. There's some law that says if someone is seriously annoyed, you can go to jail for that.
Right. And we see that happen in Arizona, right? We've got this harassment statute. If it would cause a reasonable person to feel annoyed or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, you mean a reasonable person at a safe space at Berkeley College? Or do you mean a reasonable person like me in a Marine Corps barracks where we constantly trash each other and rip each other a new butthole and insult each other all the time? And that's normal. So so these vague and ambiguous terms basically give a weakling jury the ability to put someone like Lane Myers away for life.
Yeah, I'd be on death row if that was a real law, or you know what I mean. I would be on death row. I annoy people nonstop. All I got to do is speak my mind.
Hey, check it out. Hold on a minute. I just want to give a shout out to the audience, man. We got Reluctant Prophet. Good seeing you, Reluctant Prophet. I'm super happy you showed up, brother. I got Sassy Queen hanging out. Sassy Queen, Mountain Mover, Selwindon, Wanda Nise, Brandon, End All Immunity. Man, these guys are all my homies, man. I'm sure you see these guys on your channel too, right?
Do. Yes,
these are great people. We got Brent Shimko, Bev's channel. So anyway, we just got an opportunity, John, to cover a little bit about like the Stingray thing. I just want to show a couple of videos about Mr. Gold, and then we'll get into Lane Myers, because I know that's really what we really came here to discuss, right?
Sure.
Okay, so just really quick, I just want the audience to kind of know what happened here. So, and you can sort of help me out here. It appears as though Mr. Gold ends up getting arrested, I guess, because his dogs were barking or something. It got the neighbors upset. And then it's alleged that he sent them something from Uber Eats. I mean, is that a pretty fair summation?
He had a dog charity or something, or a dog something, and then the neighbors across the street basically copied his. I was just about to put the link in, but Shannon Walker and Matt Walker had my video taken down for privacy complaint. I was just about to put that in the link.
Holy crap.
2-hour plus live stream I did about Mr. Gold and Lane Myers. So I was just looking for it in my creators tab, and it's gone. They took it down for privacy complaint because we dared speak the king's and queen's name, Matt and Shannon Walker. But yeah, go
That's
ahead.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I guess let's just try to like ad lib it or put it together. We got RP here too. He could type in stuff.
Yeah, he had a dog charity. The neighbors across the street copied his dog charity and just added like ink or another word at the end. They wanted his property. He didn't want to sell the property. There was a lot, man. I'll just repost that video because privacy complaints, they can take your video down, but you can just put it right back up. So I'm gonna end up doing that if I can find it.
But basically, in a nutshell, he had a problem with the neighbors, and then he's accused of sending them something from Uber Eats. That's what sparked all this, right?
Something along those lines. The big thing was, though, they wanted his property. He didn't want to sell it. They wanted to do the dog charity. He wasn't part of their deal. He wasn't in their circle of friends. He was just his own man, and he stepped in their clique, and they didn't like him, so they used anything in their power to go after him. And Uber Eats was one of the things.
What the heck? This sounds like something out of the Dukes of Hazzard or something.
It's like you can't make this stuff up.
Right. And that's why I was having such a hard time explaining this to my lawyer friends. It just sounds too unbelievable.
If I didn't do all the research I did, I'd be like, that's why people are so like, that's insane. Come on, that didn't happen. No, nobody was unalived over a license plate. Yes, they are. Yes, they do.
So the guy gets called into court,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to show a little bit of the video because I don't think that his lawyer did him any favors.
It's fine.
But we'll just play a little bit of this video so you can kind of understand. So his lawyer in this video was Thomas Hartzell, and let's just let him talk.
As of last night, he was having a mental health issue and felt that he couldn't continue to drive into court. It would be a danger to himself and others to be behind the wheel.
Okay, so that's really all I wanted to play of that. So
and there's Judge Ball too. Judge Ball's heavily involved with the Lane Myers case also, where he had him kidnapped for contempt. That wasn't even an arrestable offense. But go on, sorry.
I heard that. Well, so that right there, I believe, is the basis for their surveillance. They're trying to say that he's trying to unalive himself because he said, "I'm so stressed out that I'll be dangerous driving my car." That's what I got out of this.
Okay.
And so now they're using that as a basis to send mental health officials. And this is what I want to share with you guys. This is what the government does to take away your Second Amendment rights. What they'll try to do is they'll try to say you're dangerous, and then they'll confiscate your firearms. And this is something that started under Barack Obama. And this is an insidious plan by the leftists to take away your firearms. And I'm sure there's some rhino Republicans that are behind that same kind of stuff too. But at the end of the day, they want to disarm you. And right, that's what they don't want you to be able to defend yourself.
Oh, even in the school system now, like a kid chewed his Pop-Tart in the shape of a gun and was like, "Pam, pam." A little kid threw him out of school for that. And you're right, it started under Obama. And his who the hell was his attorney general? Eric
Holder, the terrorist, Eric Holder. He was an actual terrorist.
He literally said in a video or somewhere, we have to brainwash people into thinking that guns are bad.
Yeah, so he was part of the what's called the Fairweather or the Underwater, whatever.
Weather Underground.
Weather Underground. They held hostage some university professors, and freaking Barry makes this guy the attorney general.
Right?
Are you kidding me? I mean, how the hell did this guy get elected president?
That's a whole nother conspiracy theory.
All right. So anyway, so there's that one. There's that one. Because I want to blast through these really quick. But here's another Mr. Gold video.
Real quick, my name is Augustine. I'm Cabrina's partner. Same thing. I'm with the Crisis Mobile team. Can I just ask?
Where are you trying to take me?
Well,
where?
Let me just.
I want to know where you're trying to take me.
Okay, let me just answer this thing.
We want to take you somewhere where you will feel safe.
We're from the Crisis Mobile team. We were called out.
Can I ask by who?
By him. He called. And so we're trying to
figure out. You're saying he called?
Yes. Okay. All right. I mean, we're just trying to make sure everybody's safe, and it sounded like you needed help. Okay. Well, no, this is the first time we got in the car. We haven't gotten out of the car.
Okay, but you keep pulling in front of the gate and stopping before I can walk down.
We haven't pulled up to your gate either.
Okay.
So just a little bit more background here. So my understanding, and look, I've been listening to Reluctant Prophets videos all day trying to school myself for this because I don't really know anything about Mr. Gold other than what I've learned from watching videos on Reluctant Prophets channel. But what it looks like is that Mr. Gold was on hold for a Zoom to appear in court. But for whatever reason, he said, I don't want to come in. I don't think it'll be safe. I don't think it'll be safe for me to come in. And so they use that as a pretext to say that he's suicide. Or can't say that word on YouTube. Right. But tried to unalive himself. And so because of that, now they're sending out these freaking government employees, right? Like just because they've got to justify their existence. And I'll tell you stories about my dealings with Child Protective Services trying to steal people's children from them.
They're the worst.
in another video, but these people, in my opinion, they are not friendly to the American people. These people are radical leftists. What's that?
They break up families more than help families. Plus, a bunch of children went missing under their custody. Plus, a lot of the heads of the DCF, I think it was in Florida, it was like the head of the DCF got caught doing bad things to minors, and then the person they replaced him with was also a PDF file. Yeah.
And these are the same people who say, oh, Pizzagate never happened, right? That's all a lie. And then that same dude gets busted for PD whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same dude who covered that up and all that Wikipedia stuff, dude, WikiLeaks, that's all real, dude. That's not like Russian disinformation. That's real stuff, in my opinion.
Russian disinformation is just another buzzword they use to, just like conspiracy theorists, right-wing extremists, Russian disinformation. Those are all buzzwords they use to stifle the truth.
I agree, brother. Let's keep on watching, though, because this is the end result of him simply saying, from what I understand, I don't feel safe to drive. I could be a danger driving from the stress that I'm under from these neighbors trying to, cause harm to me and my dogs. All right, so let's check it out. All right, here we go. So I don't want to get copyrighted for the music. I don't know how RP does it.
I always feel like somebody watching.
What I'll do is I'll just turn down the music and we'll just watch it.
And I get no privacy.
So apparently the neighbor has a camera in their yard or something, and they're filming Mr. Gold on his property. I think that's what this is. Well, let me see if we got. Oh, here we go. Here's the aircraft.
Wow.
He's not in the house, but he's pulled up to almost the end of the driveway. He's kind of just standing at the rear of the vehicle. I think he's on his phone.
Other neighbors watching. Well, it's the man.
Yep.
Dude, see again. You can find the biggest conspiracy theory ever exposed, and that doesn't even scratch the surface of the other worse stuff that's going on. So I'm tired of that crap.
So here's what I got out of this. Based on what I've seen, Reluctant Prophet actually did some public information requests. And this is all true. Literally, they had, and probably still do have, aircraft that are surveilling this guy, following him around, and trying to triangulate his location.
For what?
Can you imagine? Public records requests show this to be true. So
follow him around for what? Because he wouldn't sell his house and he has a dog charity? Like,
well, they're trying to say since he might unalive himself, they have to protect him from himself.
Get the F out of here. That's an excuse to surveil him. That's the thing that pisses me off about cops. We know the real reason you behave the way you do. All your lies and BS and gaslighting it's over. You've been exposed.
It's unbelievable to me, brother. Like, I'm just in shock, being a lawyer and not wanting to believe it. So I got another one I want to show y'all. This is more, hopefully this one doesn't have all the music.
I always feel like
that's a great song.
Somebody's watching me.
The red mark on this map over northwest Tucson, Arizona, radioing this in.
Sir, to the address the units will be going to will be
30 miles away, a Mr. Gold starts his daily dog walk, passing a neighbor's video camera, illegally spying into private areas of Gold's home. Survey 2 was apparently alerted by this neighbor. Left a real emergency, flying straight to circle Mr. Gold 3 times. The very next day, this neighbor hid their white truck in a wash behind Gold's property, then set off their vehicle alarm, leading other neighbors to think Gold was the source of this disturbance. Neighbors called the sheriff, which yet again sent Survey 2 to circle Gold during his daily dog walk, just minutes after he passed the neighbor's illegal camera.
Confirming Survey 2.
Gold hired a 24-hour executive security detail for days on.
So
where are you getting this stuff, man?
Dude, I mean, this is unbelievable to me. Hold on, I'm trying to. So Reluctant Prophet made a comment here. Hold on, let me find it.
This is gold.
It's gold. He said,
This is gold.
You guys got to like and subscribe to Reluctant Prophet's channel.
Oh, of course.
This dude's a legit freaking reporter, man. I mean, honestly, dude, like out of all the channels I've seen out there, you know, he's up there with you, John, but he's really, he goes deep. He'll literally go and do public records requests, and he's deep, man. So he's saying that. What's that?
I binge watch his channel.
Hell yeah. So he's saying they did a wellness check in another state on him a month ago.
Wow.
So they're doing wellness checks. Why? Obviously, he hasn't unalived himself yet. So why is he so dangerous?
The wrong person with too much power.
And my understanding is that he has like a dog charity, and he's an animal lover.
Yes.
Like, why would he do something to unalive himself when he has all these animals that he has to take care of?
That's just gaslighting.
It doesn't make any.
It's not true.
It's not true. It's just the totality of the circumstances don't compute. It just doesn't add up, man.
No. Right.
So hold on. Let's see if we have any comments here. We can.
I'm gonna go grab a water.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take a look here. Bev's channel. I know somebody said. Oh, hold on a second, RP. I know somebody said, "Hey, why are you in vertical?" Let me tell you why I'm in vertical, guys. Because I try and bring in the younger crowd, and so YouTube changed their algorithm when they were trying to take out TikTok, because YouTube was expecting to make a ton of money once all their politicians that they paid off in Congress, right, got rid of TikTok. That's what this was all about. It was all about enriching their other friends at Facebook and Google. So
whoa. TikTok, say that again.
Yeah, so the whole reason why the politicians were trying to take out TikTok was because it was going to enrich Google and Facebook. They're the main political donors to a certain political party.
Hold on. The main reason they really wanted to get rid of TikTok is because there was too much stuff on there showing what's going on in the Israel-Palestine conflict. And the head of the ADL was caught on a leaked call saying we have a huge TikTok problem. And within a week, they were trying to pass legislation to get rid of TikTok.
Whoa. Well,
yes,
damn.
sir.
That's a whole nother show. But let me tell you the outcome. The outcome is that YouTube started promoting their vertical feed. And so the vertical feed goes into the shorts feed now. So when you do a live, you're pulling traffic from the shorts feed. And the shorts feed is like 90% young people. And so what I'm trying to do is get the youth involved in the pro-America libertarian movement. And so these horizontals are super awesome for all of us guys that are like 40, 50 or whatever. But what are we going to do once we're dead? We have got to get the youth involved. So look, I apologize. A lot of you guys don't like it that I do these verticals, but I
was wondering why.
Yeah, well, since I started doing these, I started out like my average age was like 60 to 80 years old. And now I'm down to about 50-50, like 16 and up.
Oh, so that same thing on my channel. The majority of people are over 25.
Well, that's good for you. I mean, I was just like 50 and up, 40 and up. So I'm starting to like, somehow you've done a good job at capturing the youth. And I do agree. I should do a couple days a week in horizontal, but so far vertical has been the way to go. And of course, as you know, it's a lot easier to make shorts.
Do what you got to do, man.
Out of a vertical. But yeah, I know a lot of people don't like it, bro. But I'm doing my best. I can't please everybody.
No.
Can't please everybody, man.
The point of the videos are to get as much reach as possible. So if you need to go vertical, go vertical, man. Who cares?
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So now we'll. So basically, that's sort of the Mr. Gold story. Now, I have some additional information here. So Reluctant Prophet says he has evidence that Stingray was used to track him used to track. I'm sorry, strike that. Okay, there's evidence. Okay, strike that. Strike what I said. I was misunderstanding this. There is evidence that Stingray is being used to track certain people, and the evidence is still being collected, and there are multiple events, and at some point that evidence is going to come out. All right, now, check this out. They just said, I guess the police just said that body cams are ready for Mr. Gold. So I guess what that means is that $2,500. Okay, for $2,500, we should be able to, I guess, get that discovery. So one of the things that I wanted to do a fundraiser for Mr. Gold as well as for Lane Myers. The issue is I don't believe in creating GoFundMes and then collecting money for people. That's not how I roll, because then I will have the appearance of impropriety, like I'm trying to take people's money. So I'm hoping that between maybe you or Reluctant Prophet, there's a way that we can get money to Lane as well as to Mr. Gold, where I don't have to be involved. You know what I mean? Where none of us have to have our hands in the money pot, because to me it just has the appearance of impropriety. I want to make sure that anything we do to help these guys raise money goes to them. So
I think Lane has some link that goes directly to him.
Well, if anybody has links for Gold as well as for Lane, drop it in there. Don't send me money for like donations or whatever for Gold or Myers. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't send me nothing either.
Yeah, don't do that. That's not what I want to do. All right. So the next one I got, brother, is I've got a video from our favorite. This is a public service, and everybody, I really want you to like, subscribe. I gave This is a Public Service pretty much all of my donations for last month in one of his shows, because I really think we need to support him, because he's the only person out there like a voice in the desert, like a John the Baptist, who's actively trying to support Lane. And I think he's a pretty cool dude. Let's check him out.
All right. We're going to come with a story and a comparison today. And it's not going to be real hard to track this. It's not going to be real hard to draw some lines of connection in between. So let's take a listen.
But first, breaking tonight, this former Maricopa County prosecutor just lost her law license. The state suspending April Sponsel for 2 years. She's the main prosecutor who worked with Phoenix police to invent a gang and then falsely charge protesters as members. It's taken 3 years to get to this point.
And it all began because ABC 15 chief investigator Dave Biscopine exposed Sponsel's cases were based on lies and exaggerations. Here's Dave with the very latest.
The fact that April Sponsel lost her law license is not a surprise. There was a 7-day disciplinary trial. We were there for the entire thing, and the evidence was damning. Now, the decision to suspend Sponsel's license was almost entirely based on her prosecution against this group of protesters. They were arrested in October 2020, and Sponsel worked with Phoenix officers to invent a gang and charge this group as members. They told wild lies to the grand jury to get the charges, even claiming that the group was comparable to the Bloods, Crips, and Hells Angels. Now, it's important to note that the bogus gang case was initially allowed by the county attorney's office, and it continued for several months, but it almost immediately unraveled after our politically charged investigation. Within days, Sponsel was put on leave before eventually getting fired. In the final 71-page decision, the state's disciplinary judge wrote in part, Ms. Sponsel violated duties owed to her client, to members of the public, to the legal system, and to the profession. Her misconduct had far-reaching consequences. It's not clear if Sponsel will appeal this decision. Her attorney declined to comment. And just because her suspension lasts 2 years, it doesn't mean she'll be able to get her law license back. She'll have to reapply and prove she's been rehabilitated. And that will not be easy after this trial, because she repeatedly denied doing anything wrong. I'm investigator Dave Biscobing, ABC 15.
Dave Biscobing, we need you, bro. We need you. So we got Dave Biscobing. He comes in, he swoops in, immediately exposes everybody. Lane's already done a pretty good job of exposing. Dave really just has to come in here and kind of be the hero. So we're hoping we're going to reach out to Dave early and often, and hopefully he can come in and do a 10-part, 20-part, 30-part series on the Pima County Attorney's Office. Start with we already got Laura Conover. She's already under formal discipline, right? She's under some.
Yeah, and so they're all buddies, by the way, with all the people who are still in power, right? So think about that for a minute.
Agreement for being corrupt, for being a corrupt government official, right? And we got let's see what it was all about. Ethical violations by Pima County Attorney Laura Conover. Oh boy. Ethical violations. So we already know that the office is unethical, right? Once Slam and Sammy took up the case, and then MJ Raciti took up the case, they were all prosecuting these false charges in violation of Rule 3.8, the special responsibilities of a prosecutor: refrain from prosecuting a charge that the prosecutor knows is not supported by probable cause. So they've done this every step of the way. They've pursued charges without probable cause. This is the definition of unethical prosecution. And now now we're just adding a new name to the mix, and it's Rachel Stiles. So I don't know what you're thinking, Rachel. I don't know why you wanted to get involved in the show, but it seems like you're much more concerned about phone calls in the jail, about fundraising ideas for Lane, than making sure that he has his court-ordered law library access.
So let's talk about that, and we'll cover the rest of this. But so, John, have you ever heard of a case?
Real quick.
Yeah.
This is a public service. Is also a board member of TAC. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, right on. That's outstanding. Okay, I'm really impressed that you are into the same stuff that I'm into.
Same here, dude. I couldn't believe what we were talking about earlier. Go on.
I just wish that I could find a couple of lawyers who are like me. It's really difficult for the only people I really relate to are like combat veterans and people like you. It's really hard, man.
Yep.
Okay, so wow, I got butterflies right now. I got like the hairs on my neck standing up. So listen, have you ever heard of a case like this where, because my gut feeling was when those bicycle police were waiting for Lane outside the courtroom to arrest him, and everybody knew that's what they were there for, that the reason this was being done was to make sure that he wouldn't have access to a law library, that he wouldn't have access to Westlaw, because he keeps kicking the shit out of all these guys in court.
That's right.
I've never met anybody who could memorize code sections like. Yeah, I thought that I was good, dude, but Lane really knows how to do it. Have you ever heard of a case like this before?
So I always say, like, Lane's a savant. I wish he could control his outbursts and believe me, I understand why he does it, but it hurts him a little bit. But yes, he is a savant. When it comes to that stuff, he's smarter than every lawyer that's been put up against him, and that's why they're conspiring and colluding together to put him in jail for decades, because he made a fool out of all of them, because they are fools in comparison to him.
Well, John, I have a similar feeling, and I've mentioned it before that if Lane could learn how to control his emotions, I think that he would be probably one of the best lawyers in the country.
100%. 100%.
But at the same token, that's no reason to put him in jail.
Of course it's not, but that's what they use. That's the ammunition they're using.
Yeah. It's a
What else
pretext.
do they have? What else do they have besides his outbursts and his YouTube videos? What else do they have?
I don't see harassment.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
And Shannon Walker is a public official. He said himself, the reason her name and contact information is on the website is because it has to be there by law. If she was so scared, why wouldn't they just take that off of there? And her pictures of her kids. Not only that, she threw her kids into the mix too, trying to get sympathy from the judge. And the first injunction that was put on him was based on lies. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I heard voicemails, but I guess there was only one, right? Only one phone
voicemail, and then he went down to where she works, a public university, to interview her as a journalist. That is it. Other than that, it's YouTube videos that she goes out of her way to find herself. It's not like he's emailing them to her or nothing. She's stalking herself. We're a lot. Not only that, he believes, and he said that he has proof from a couple FBI agents. This is a public service, could tell you better, but he believes on the same day his wife also worked for the University of Arizona as a law clerk. The same day she was getting an award, and I don't know if that was the day he emasculated Matt Walker in court. The very same day they fire her. So that same day they're giving her an award for being such a great employee. The next thing you know, after Matt Walker is emasculated, she's fired, and he believes that Shannon Walker has something to do with her getting fired, and he also claims that there's proof through FBI agents of that. So that's another reason they want him in a cage.
That was my thought too, is that it's sort of an excessive abuse of using your public office to protect your wife, perhaps. Now, by the way, Reluctant Prophet is saying that there were 3 voicemails. So our theory of one voicemail may be incorrect. But that's one thing I got to hand to Reluctant Prophet, is that he doesn't mince words, and he doesn't show favoritism. He's a warrior for justice. And so, he's not.
Let's say there was 3 voicemails. Did any of them do anything threatening? Is it not a public voicemail? Is it not a public phone number? Did he threaten her? Did he say he was going to do anything to her other than speak about a public employee in public? First Amendment, right?
From what I've seen, I think you're right, man.
Right.
And what about this, John? So when the judge said, I'm satisfied that these calls were generated because of Lane Myers, well, look at all the people who are enemies of Lane Myers.
Anybody could have called and said, I'm exactly. It could be anybody. And that's not to a legal degree of certainty who these people are. You're just saying, I believe so. Who the hell are you? So what? You're just a guy in a robe. I believe that these people, anyone could have called anonymously and said, people that hate Lane could have called up and made death threats.
That's
just assume that Lane did that?
There was no foundation. There was like, if I had been Lane's lawyer, I would have been prepared with phone records, and I would have immediately tried to go up on appeal or a writ or something. I mean, some kind of I'm not really sure what it is in Arizona, so I'm not going to sit there and try to act like I'm an expert. But there's got to.
I don't think pro se litigants or pro se defendants should be held to the same standard as a lawyer who went to law school either. They should be given a lot of leeway. How about we speak in plain English? Because I don't know Latin, first of all. You know what I'm trying to say in plain English. And this whole Latin system where you got to have a degree to defend yourself in court, that shouldn't be a thing. That you should be able to go into court, speak plain English, do it the best you can in a reasonable manner, and that should be the court system. Well, this is crap. They do it on purpose to keep the common man suppressed.
Well, there is a case called Balistreri versus Pacifica Police Department that talks about the Court of Appeals having a duty to ensure that pro se litigants don't lose a fair hearing on the merits due to ignorance of technical or procedural requirements.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's the judge is making findings of fact and conclusions of law that these phone calls were generated because of Lane Myers directing these phone calls to be made. but there was no evidence. And
That's an assumption.
Right. And so this particular hearing is based upon whether or not the judge believes that the prosecutor has a reasonable likelihood of success to win the actual trial. But the practical effect was to deny him the ability to research and prepare a defense. And that's what this video is about. So do you have anything to add to that? Because I want to keep playing this video.
Go for it.
All right, brother. Let's do it. By the way, give me a couple more shout outs for our homie over at This Is a Public Service. This guy's legit.
Yeah,
which is going to be a tough hill to climb since apparently the jail doesn't even have a law library and hasn't had one in 2 years. So, I mean, right now you're in violation of the court order, but you don't care, right? Because you can do whatever you want.
Wait, did you catch that? Wait, hold on a minute.
Yeah, there's a court order that he has to have access to the law library in the jail, and there isn't a law library in the jail for 2 years now. And then it turned into, well, he can use a tablet, something tablet, but it's not like he has a tablet 24/7, because what he needs to do to research his case isn't during recreation time at the jail. He needs to jump in head first. I need a cigarette. I'll be back.
Hey, let me share something with you guys. Go ahead, bro. Do your thing.
Right.
I'll talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me share something with you guys. When I'm preparing a case for trial, or when I'm doing an appellate brief, I might have an epiphany at like 2 a.m. And that's when I get up and I start doing legal research. And typically there have been days where I don't sleep for 3 or 4 days, because to me, practicing law it's a gift from God to be able to help people. And I'm so on fire, like a born again Christian, for lack of a better word, that I just can't stop. So it's like, can you imagine being locked up in a cell and knowing that, at any time an assailant could come for him, in exchange for some short time? I mean, look at what happened to the Epstein Island dude, right? I mean, do you really think that he can offed himself? Come on, guys. So he's got to be thinking about that as well as trying to defend himself. I think that if I was the defense attorney, my argument would be, prosecutor, you knew exactly what you were doing. You wanted to make sure that this dude who keeps kicking the shit out of you as well as the court system wouldn't have an opportunity to reasonably prepare an adequate defense. What do you guys think? I want to see it in the comments. I want to see what you guys think. Reluctant Prophet says 3 times 7 CITRSs. Hey, before John gets back, so guys, listen up. So Reluctant Prophet is actually going to go out on a limb, and he's going to pay the $2,000 or whatever dollars it is for the freaking what is it, the body cam footage. So anybody who wants to throw me a super chat or whatever right now, any of the proceeds that I collect, I'll send it over to Reluctant Prophet on my honor as a U.S. Marine. If not, go to Reluctant Prophet's channel. I believe that you should just be able to click on any of his videos and just make a donation. RP, just share your link to one of your videos so people can start donating money. Or if you have a GoFundMe link, do that so you don't have to incur the fees. But this is really serious stuff, dude. And by the way, this has to do with Mr. Gold's case. This is the body cam footage for Mr. Gold. But these are all inexorably linked, because Mr. Gold and Reluctant Prophet and Lane Myers all have a symbiotic relationship, because Lane has been involved in all this stuff, trying to help people, trying to do the right thing. So, again, I'm not licensed to practice law in Arizona. There's not a whole hell of a lot I can do. And for the last couple of months, I've had a bulging disc where I haven't even really been able to go live. And right now I'm at a standing desk, because every time I sit down, my whole left leg lights on fire, like it feels like a million syringes are being pumped into it. So I'm doing my best to support these guys, because I think that these guys are, for lack of a better word, being guided by angels, and I want to help them. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. I mean, they're standing up for the same concepts and vision that our founding fathers had, in my opinion. So let me see here. So Justin Knighton says, 100%, the law library has been gone for 2 years, and that is one of the things under their control. Now, listen, if the court had a a ruling, right? Why couldn't he do like an interlocutory appeal on a question of law? Why couldn't he do like a writ of mandating that they provide transportation to for him to the actual law library? Because that was part of the judge's order. Why can't he file a motion to modify the order to make sure he has access? And again, since I'm not an Arizona lawyer, and I know that these prosecutors probably don't like it that a lawyer is talking about this, I'm going out on a limb saying these things. You know what I mean? Like, we really need to find a sympathetic lawyer in Arizona. And then if that was the case, I could at least try to do pro hoc and pro hoc vice in on the case, because there's so many things, there's so many missed opportunities right now that I see with Lane. And I don't really care if you think he's crazy or whatever. I mean, look, everybody's crazy until somebody gets into power who isn't crazy. And then the crazy person all of a sudden starts to look sane. So I think maybe they might be the crazy people, but they have control over the news media. They have control over the instruments of power, right? The instrumentalities of power. So that's a real problem. So Greg B says Lane had an arraignment scheduled last Friday, but it was canceled due to Lane submitting some kind of an emergency motion. And Reluctant Prophet says he's literally in the general population with an hour or so out of the day. And so that goes against the spirit also of the judge's ruling. And I'm not by any means saying the judge was some kind of a pawn in this matter. I mean, clearly the judge had to have known that there's no law library there, right, guys? I mean, to me, if that's the case, it seems to me like a complaint in California, I would have immediately filed a complaint to the Commission on Judicial Performance, because obviously you're trying to look good for the public, right? Because it's the media. But at the end of the day, if you knew that there was no law library and you went ahead and locked this guy up, do you really think he's going to get a fair trial? And so what can Lane do? Well, say I waive more time for trial so I can prepare because you denied me everything you promised me? Because that's what it looks like is happening to me. It looks like he's going to have to ask for additional time to prepare. So now he's going to have to waive more time and stay in jail away from his wife and kids and his family. And we know that the government uses those types of techniques to get plea bargains. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with that. That the government, like the January 6ers, the ones who pled out after they were denied legal counsel, kept in cells the size of a shoebox, didn't see their wives, didn't see their kids, lost their jobs, lost their homes because they were invited into the Capitol building by Capitol Police after Nancy Pelosi called off the National Guard that Trump requested, and that was lied about in the January 6 hearings. And that's why we know that, what's her name, Cheney got a prospective pardon, right? So follow along with me. So we know what they do, right? So they'll plea bargain out and the government can say, we got a conviction. They admitted that they were guilty. Don't you think that's what they're trying to do with Lane? Like, I'm praying to God that Lane has enough of a constitution and that his wife has the ability to support herself so that Lane can do the right thing and keep fighting. Because I guarantee you, no man is an island. There is a point. Every man has his breaking point. And in my opinion, this whole process is being used to try to break him. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. We got John back here. What do you think, John?
Auditing Erie County was caught up in that January 6th stuff.
No kidding.
Yeah, and all he did was walk around the halls and take pictures of statues and stuff. And they put him on felony probation. And then when he was out doing his audits, they actually tried to use that against him and try to get him violated. But yeah, that was a total crap show. J6, there was feds dressed up as Trump supporters inside the building. They pretty much let him in. They let him around. The guy, Jacob Tinsley, I believe, who they called the shaman, was actually a really nice, smart guy. And he got off because of Brady material. And he's been on a few shows now. Trust me, I watch like 100 hours a week on 2x speed of all politics. He's a smart dude. He's actually running for office now. Brady material got him set free. He was framed. It was all BS, pre-planned BS, just like all the other conspiracy facts.
100%. And I know several of the attorneys who represent the J6ers, and I would have had them on my show sooner, but unfortunately, because of the politics, there was no way I was going to let that happen, right? Because I wanted to make sure those guys got out, which they did.
Yeah, you got to walk on eggshells on YouTube, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, another thing about that is everything I learned about what happened on September 11th, 01, I learned from Google Video, which used to be an amazing resource. It wasn't restricted back then, and YouTube. Everything I learned about that incident, I learned from Google Video and YouTube, and then 20 years later, I made a video called 911. 20 years later, I got suspended for 2 weeks.
Damn, that's unbelievable. Well, I got suspended for talking about the big pharma stuff. Calling it medical misinformation when I had like thousands of doctors who said it's not. And that this is,
Yeah, I know.
Reluctant Prophet says he missed the call earlier and he's waiting on a call back, but he'll post it as soon as he knows. So I guess maybe, is that from Lane Myers?
Maybe.
All right.
It's hard to watch Lane on his own channel because he's so random and with his Bluetooth hammer. Dude, I was up at like 5 a.m. for no good reason. I'm in his live chat. And you know how James Freeman does the gloves now in his videos? Yeah. I told James, you know, because I'm like I said, undiscovered comedian. I tell James that he should turn his gloves into fifis and sell them as merchandise. You know, that's what they call prison vaginas, if I can use the medical term. And Lane sees my comment and he goes, "John, what do you know about fifis?" And he literally reaches behind him and he has one ready to roll on his desk. Oh my God, bro, really? So yeah.
Check this out, brother. I just got a news flash. So Lane had court on Friday and he was arraigned on 6 more charges. So he's got a total of 26 charges. I mean, if this doesn't like reek of William Wallace, I don't know what does.
We have to make it go viral in the mainstream news, because we could sit here and yell on YouTube and they ignore us. Just like there's a million police videos and people still think police are the good guys. I mean, it's frustrating. We're pushing a big boulder uphill. That's what it is right now. And we have to force these mainstream prostitutes to put it out and show what's going on, because that's where it needs to be. Because nothing changes except for hardcore litigation, which takes a ton of money, effort, and it's a unicorn to even find a lawyer that'll do that for you, even if you have the money. And then secondly, what was I going to say? Lawyer, secondly, yeah, the only other thing that makes them change their behavior is tons and tons and tons of viral exposure on every platform. Where'd you go,
man? John, we are the mainstream media now.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We are the mainstream media now, and I'm gonna do my best. I've got some friends in the so-called mainstream media who are watching this right now.
Good.
And I'm going to do everything that I can to get as much exposure on this as possible. I see a grave injustice here.
They're railroading him. They're mad because he made them look like the chumps that they are. He wouldn't fall for their crap. He didn't let them play their stupid games. He didn't let them withhold discovery. He recused several judges. He embarrassed all the University of Arizona law graduates, and he put their faces on a T-shirt. And they can't have that. You need to bow down to them. They're the elite. They're the law grads. They're the scholars. And we're not just going to let some YouTuber / former jailbird come here and embarrass us in our own profession, which he did.
Well, a lot of our founding fathers were jailbirds too, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, when people say, "Oh, man, let me guess, you have an arrest record." Yeah, so what? Almost every civil rights activist worth his weight and it has been arrested. That's just something they do to civil rights activists.
Well, it's a catalyst that makes you become a civil rights advocate.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing.
Most people don't really become civil rights advocates until they've been arrested a couple of times.
I didn't get arrested until I was 47 years old. I had nothing on my record, and it didn't take that for me to become a civil rights activist. like anything serious. I mean, I've been stopped nonstop by cops throughout my life.
Well, that's an arrest, in my opinion. But
yeah, that's a detainment. But I never actually went to jail or was arrested or charged or anything up until I shined a flashlight in the cop's face. What they do to us all the time. Right. So there you go.
Unbelievable. So let's go ahead and let This Is a Public Service finish his video.
Yeah.
And let's see what he's got to say. By the way, guys, please make sure to like and subscribe to This Is a Public Service. And also, look, James Freeman as well. I think he is. I think that James Freeman is legit. So I just hearing his name, it makes me smile. Yeah,
he's great.
You're gonna just be able to run roughshod over the people, huh? Well, we're gonna keep contacting Dave. Dave doesn't like corruption. We don't like corruption. We're sick and tired of it, Laura. We're sick and tired of it, Rachel. You're going to love your t-shirts. I'll tell you what, you're going to love them. This is a public service. We're out here today to ensure our natural rights are respected by those who swore an oath to support, protect, and defend the rights of the people.
Amen.
The purpose of all interactions is to peacefully promote government accountability and transparency. Please like, share, and subscribe so this message can reach as many people as possible. I implore you to peacefully seek redress to any and all of your grievances.
That right there, that is a man of God as far as I'm concerned. I really like his channel, man.
Good guy. I went to one of his federal court hearings where they will not. First of all, you can't even enter the courthouse without an ID, which is BS. You can't remain anonymous, and absolutely not allowed to bring a camera in there. So when I was in there, I had a clipboard and a pen, and I was just like, "Oh, look at that nice stained glass. Let me make a." I started scribbling like I'm auditing on my pad, like I'm drawing. So I had to take notes and do a report afterwards.
Unbelievable! That is insane.
Yeah. And the judge was a Biden appointee. He was a young guy too, and it was all about recording inside of a Social Security Administration, and they wanted to put him in jail. The prosecutor wanted to put him in jail for video recording inside a Social Security Administration.
That's insane, man.
Liberty Troll too. They want to put this fat PHATKUNT wanted to put him in jail, and she dared to say he was recording inside a public office, and she dared to say during court, Mr. Liberty Troll thinks he has some perceived First Amendment right. I wanted to throw him in jail for recording inside like a DMV or something. And he's on probation now for that.
And it looks like in Arizona, they're also trying to make it to where you can't even audio record because of Lane Meyer's success.
Yeah, that 12.1 rule or 11.1 where all you have to do is inform them that you're recording. Now they want to change it to where not only do you have to inform them, you have to get their permission to make an objective record of your own hearing. That's ridiculous.
It is. And look, that's what got me into all this. I think it was like 155H or something from what I remember. But I was like, dude, no way. They don't let it happen. I was like, no way. I'm going to go. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking. But I never just say you don't know what you're talking about because I've eaten crow enough in my life, right? So I freaking watched this guy, and I was like, he looks crazy with the crazy tie, bow tie, and all this. Mm-hmm. But I was listening to him, and I all of a sudden I started getting won over. And then I started doing more research. I had my clerk call down to the courthouse, and they said, no, there's no rule. I was like, okay. But then one of my members, I think it was, oh gosh, I can't remember now, but said, no, here's the statute. And I read it, and I was like, oh my God, even the court clerk denied its existence. And absolutely, you have
the revision or the actual court rule?
The actual court rule that you can record in court. The court clerk
they didn't know it themselves. The court, the judges, because no one has the nerve to actually do that. And once finally somebody does, And there was lawyers on the internet saying, no, that's crap. You can't do that. And it's like rule something H or something.
I think it's 155H.
Inform them, and it had to be on your person or near your person. So like Lane walks 6 feet away in one of his hearings, and they're like, well, it's not on your person anymore. So you had to walk back to where his recorder was. Like, you guys are scum. Like I said, we know who you are. The emperor has no clothes, or however the saying goes. We know what you're doing. Your gaslighting doesn't work anymore. You're scared of accountability. You're scared of exposure. Period. Point blank.
And all courts are supposed to be courts of record. And really quick, because I got to be nice to my audience. So Greg B, thank you so much. Greg B just donated $5 to Team MPE. That means a lot to me, brother. So Greg B is a buddy of mine. He's saying, buy my ebook. So you guys don't cancel your orders. I've gotten about 10 orders for my ebook. So really quickly, this is not the ebook that I have for sale. This is the paperback version, but I have a book for $19.99. It's an ebook, and it's called My Journey to Becoming a Practicing Lawyer with No Law Degree or Undergrad. And I talk about the different states that offer the program, like Alaska, similar program to California. And so people have been swooping it up. And so Greg's helping me out. And that means a lot to me, dude, because I haven't been able to go live. And that means I haven't been able to work on cases either. So my family's not doing too hot right now. So those book purchases do help me support my family at this point. So it means a lot to me, you guys supporting me. And that was my first donation of the day. And I know that $5 from one of you guys might be like $500 from someone like me. And it means the world to me.
Let me ask, that's only a few states you can become a lawyer without going to law school, right?
Yeah, it's so I think West Virginia has one. Alaska for sure has one. One of the states just removed their program. For whatever reason, California, from when it was a conservative state, still has the program. But we know that the leftists who control our education system, they don't like it that you can get an education outside of their bought and paid for university system.
Right.
So it's kind of cool, that I was able to do it. But that's the same program that Kim Kardashian's on. And, I've done my best to try to help that along as well, even though I don't really think she's the hottest, the sharpest tool in the shed. I mean, it'd be nice to have somebody with her reach to help prisoners. If she really believes in prison reform, having been falsely arrested myself, I'm all for it.
She's gotten a couple people pardoned through the last Trump administration.
Oh, that's right. It's amazing. Trump keeps letting these people out of jail, and they're all like dark skinned. He really is showing his true colors as a racist, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's got his own problems. Now he's turned into a Ben Shapiro's favorite country loyalist all of a sudden, to be honest with you. The Adelson family.
Oh my goodness. I have to change the subject so we don't get the channel canceled. I just got a donation from Constitutional Freedom Fighter. He says, I can't read. I only learned to write. So take my money and send the book to someone that can read. Well, what do you say?
He's another board member of Tech.
Oh, damn, dude. I got to join over at your board. Listen, John, what do you think? Are there programs that can replay like in audio for him that we can get him?
He's joking.
Oh, right. Because if he couldn't read and write, how could he type that?
He's another undiscovered comedian.
You guys are unbelievable. And by the way, no, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
I have a video. Never mind. I can't even say it. Go ahead.
No, do it. Go for it, man.
I literally can't say it.
Okay. I was going to give you the stage. I wanted to give you the stage, man. I mean, I'm just so grateful that you agreed to join me, because especially after we spoke earlier today, it's like, oh my God, dude, I thought I was the only one.
He's one of the Constitutional Freedom Fighter is one of the smartest people you ever meet in your life. He helps me do all my computer stuff, how to work my body cam, how to transfer files, how to anytime. And he'll just get on my computer and take it over, and I'll just sit here and go,
Wanda Mise says he can only spell Constitutional Freedom Fighter.
Right. I call him CFF. He also put out a nice T-shirt that says Constitutional Freedom Fighter. So let me tell you this story real quick. He has a T-shirt that says "Constitutional Freedom Fighter," and he has the Bill of Rights on the back. And there's just a couple variations on the Bill of Rights, like you have the right to record police, something like that. So he went to jury duty wherever he was. He wore his T-shirt, and then you know how you sit in a big pool of jurors, and he was wearing his T-shirt, didn't say nothing to anybody. There was another guy talking about Jesus and some other person. So there's a security guard going around talking to people. Next thing you know, a little time goes by, and then they come out and they go, these people are going to be not disqualified, but these people are free to go home right now with any further. And it was him, the Jesus guy, and some other person. And when he signed up for jury duty, the form he filled out said, you swear to be a unbiased juror and be in compliance with the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Maine. And there, just because he wore the shirt that said Constitutional Freedom Fighter, they nixed him from being a juror.
That's ridiculous.
Yep. So I tell people, you wanna get out of jury duty, just wear that T-shirt to jury duty.
I'm just texting RP right now. I'm letting him know that I made him $25 to get Mr. Gold's records.
There you go.
Yeah. So I appreciate the donations, guys. Don't think that I'm like taking your freaking stuff and just keeping it for myself. That's all. Including the book donation, the 19 whatever. Yeah, that $20 that he sent me. I'll send that over to RP. I really want us to get those police records, guys. Those body cam. That body cam footage is huge. So I'm imploring and begging for everybody who's part of Team MPE, everybody who supports John, to please get in touch with Reluctant Prophet and help donate money. I know he's not rich, like sure. Let's help him out, guys. Please, please, please help him get the money to where he's not out personal funds helping Mr. Gold get those records. I think that could give us hours and hours and hours of entertainment anyways, right, John?
Not only that, if you're a member of TAC, we have over 2,000 members now, and you wonder what we can do as a group is email whatever departments these are and say, release these records, or email these departments and say, why would we have to pay for public records? We already pay you already. Just make them public. Do the redactions and make them public. They should be ready to roll. We shouldn't have to go through flaming rings to get public records. That means they're not public until we pay you for them. That's nonsense.
Look, I have to agree with you, but I think that the way the law works is if Mr. Gold could show that he's being prosecuted, he could file an informa pauperis paper showing that he's not capable of affording it, and then he could get him that way. But I think for a member of the general public, they charge a fee for what it would cost the city or whatever, the county, to get the record. So I understand their reasoning.
To get the records or to do redactions?
Whatever they're doing, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We already pay them.
You're killing me.
But do we already pay them all this tax money?
Too much logic, dude.
Okay. We already pay you. Make the records public. Take from somewhere else and take that and put it to where you make public records public. There should be a website with all the public records redacted already. We already pay you. We shouldn't have to pay you again and again and again.
Keep talking.
Okay. Why are donuts round and not square?
Why?
For officer safety.
Oh man, this is awesome.
What do a box of chocolates and police have in common?
What?
They'll both kill your dog.
Oh God, that's terrible.
How many cops does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
I think I forgot this punchline. None. They'll just beat the hell out of the room for being black.
Oh God.
All right.
Holy crap, dude, this is great.
You want more?
So, keep going, man.
I don't know, man. That's just off the top of my head. I don't think.
Right. That's cool. That was good. That was good. Right. So listen, man. Here's what I'd like to do, bro, because I think that we had a good time today.
Yeah.
I promised my daughter I'd take her out to get her some chow. So I don't want to be a total dick, but
good, man. I haven't had a cigarette in 5 minutes, so I'm good.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. So let's do this. But no, what's the matter with you? I do want to hear your jokes, man, but I got to hit the road, man. He's trying to, what's the matter? He's throwing some jokes at me.
Oh,
all right. Go ahead. Throw me your joke. What's the matter with you? Let's do it.
I have a roof joke. First one is on the house. That's funny.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Wassa.
That was the joke.
Oh, okay. First one's
on the house, the roof. All right, Michael. I'm out.
Right, okay. So, all right. So I'd like to have, honestly, bro, I'd like to have like you, Reluctant Prophet, and This Is a Public Service all come on the show. And I definitely am going to join your group and start hanging out with you guys.
Sure.
I've just been like an island by myself out there because I'm so terrified to even share how I really feel about things. Right. So it was really nice to know that I met a couple of people, you in Life Under the Microscope, who have similar beliefs. And so that was amazing.
That's the guy who got me on this carnivore diet. I just talked to him today. I dropped 8 pounds in like 5 days. All I've been eating is meat and water.
I was going to say your face looks a lot leaner.
It's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, you look great, bro. I was actually going to say, dude, you look leaner.
I have a job where I work. I have a job, everybody. You know how they always say, oh, don't you get a real job? None of you have jobs, blah, blah, blah. I have a job. I work outside. And what's crazy about my job is people take photos of me all the time. Should I just go smack their cameras out of their thing? Get your camera out of my... No. I work outside, so I'm also a little darker. That helps with the contrast. Michael, thank you for having me, my brother.
No, dude, thank you for coming on, man. You know, I the first time I saw one of your videos, it was a comedy video. I had no idea that you were into the Constitution and natural law. And
that must have been an old one.
Yeah, it was. Because I've been on YouTube for, I don't know, 20 years now, but I never really got into it until my buddy Chili got falsely arrested. And then I helped him run his channel because I was worried about him. I know I didn't do that great of a job, but as a result, people asked me to keep coming back on. So that's why I did it. Look, I do personal injury law, John. I do car accidents and motorcycle accidents and stuff. The stuff that we're talking about here has nothing to do with what I do. This is just my personal love.
Chili helped me raise money to pay for my lawyer when I had my first arrest. So
no shit.
Yeah. And I didn't know you were running his channel while he was in the clink. Falsely in jail from that stupid KUNT judge.
Me and Brian were helping him out. And I because I was a lawyer, I was able to go and visit him. But then all those frauditor guys started calling the jail, and they denied me visitation privileges because they were talking trash on me. So I wasn't able to visit him anymore in jail. But I just want you guys to know, like, I don't make any money out of this. Like anything that I get from, like, my daughter helps me with the shorts and stuff, and I put money into an IRA for her. Like, so if you guys donate money, I'm not using that, it's to feed my family, to make sure that when I pass away, because I have a lot of health problems. I'm a disabled Marine. I can barely walk right now. I want to leave something behind for my wife and kids. So that's what it's all about for me.
May I ask how old you are, Michael?
I am now 50. Gosh, I was born in 69. I think I'm 55. I hate to say it.
69, carry the 1, that's 41 plus 25. You're up there. I'm 49. Yeah. I just turned 49. I know I look like I'm like 39. I'm just kidding. Thank you for having me, Michael.
You're welcome, bro. So I'm really into physical fitness, and I was into the paleo diet, and then Life Under got me into the whole carnivore thing. But the problem is that because I've been on my back for the last month and a half, I've had I'm still gaining weight, so I just started walking again. I walked about 15 miles yesterday. I've been doing 150 push-ups a day, 50 at a time.
Yeah.
3 sets of 50. So Lane, when you get out, let's do a competition to see who can do more push-ups.
That inversion table is going to save you, man. Get on that thing every day for like 10, 15 minutes. And eventually that will.
I do it 3 or 4 times a day. But yeah, so just really quick, John. So I was visiting Chile and stuff like that. And that's what got me on this. So when I see these morons like Direct Douche and people like that trying to say that like somehow I'm trying to like feed off of people's coattails, I can work on one case right now and make more money than I could make in 20 years of doing a YouTube show. And I don't, nobody ever sends me cases. I do car accidents, and truck accidents. People on these channels are police abuse cases. I'm not making any money off of this. I do this because I love my country. I just want you guys to know that.
Haters are going to hate, man. The biggest losers are them frauditor people. And anyone who ever comes at me in my comments or whatever, first thing I say is live debate or keyboard coward. So if you're not willing, if you believe your own BS, let's have a live debate. Let's hash it out. Please embarrass me on my own channel. You know how many people have done it so far since 2011? Like 6.
Oh, okay, that's cool. At least you got a couple.
So again, man, thanks for having me.
Well, God bless you guys.
Call me anytime, all right?
Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe to John Filax's channel. Please, somebody, before we go, drop his link. Please, everybody, he's the GOAT, man. He is the GOAT. I know you're going to be humble and say you're not, but you are.
Jeff Gray's the GOAT.
Well, I don't know, man. I think you're up there, bro. So please make sure to like.
I will say this about myself. That video where I got pulled over that went viral, 20 million views, that supercharged the auditing movement.
Yeah.
Because if I don't pat myself on the back, nobody will. But from that video forward in 2018, that's when it's really turbocharged this movement, and more. Now there's more auditors that you can even remember. So I will take credit for that.
And thanks, Greg B, for throwing up his link. And guys, also Freeman. To me, Freeman is the bomb. I mean, he is
great.
He's got the same kind of comedic stuff as you, like the one where he's like, "Where you headed? Where you going?" Like, I showed my wife that. Like, we still laugh about it, and I've commented on his channel for years. He never responds. He probably thinks, "Oh, you're just a BAR lawyer, whatever." But I just want you guys to know that I think that Freeman's the bomb. I think that you're the bomb. I just love all you. Anybody who stands up to authority, to me, is my friend. And so just make sure to always like and subscribe to their channels. And with respect to my channel, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And with that being said, thank all you guys. God bless all of you. Semper Fi, do or die. Hoorah.